how to predict products of synthesis reactions. So first of all, we are taking two single elements, magnesium and chlorine, and we are combining them to form one product. We do not carry over subscripts from the left side to the right side. So I'm going to write magnesium, and then I'm going to write chloride, because this changes from chlorine to chloride. And then over here, I have to balance the charges. So magnesium has a charge of +2, chloride has a charge of -1, and so when we balance this, we're going to have a subscript of 2 here, subscript of 1 there. We would balance the coefficients next, 1 magnesium, 2 chlorine, 2 chlorine, the coefficients are balanced. So the final answer would be Mg plus Cl2 yields MgCl2. Next is rubidium plus oxygen. I'm going to write rubidium, and then I'm going to write oxygen. And now I have to balance the charges. The charge of rubidium is +1, and the charge on oxide is a -2, which means I'm going to need a subscript of 2 next to rubidium and 1 next to the oxide. Now I'll balance the coefficients. We have 1 rubidium on the left, 2 on the right, so this is going to need a coefficient of 2. And then we have 2 oxygens on the left, but only 1 oxygen on the right, so this will get a coefficient of 2, but this has modified my rubidium. Now I have 4 rubidiums on the right, so we'll fix this to be 4. 4 rubidium, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. Final answer is 4 rubidium plus oxygen yields 2 rubidium oxide. Next is sodium plus sulfur, and so we'll write sodium and then sulfur. Now we have to balance the charges. The charge on sodium is +1, and on sulfide it's -2, which means I'm going to need a subscript of 2 here and 1 there. Now we're going to balance the coefficients. We have 1 sodium on the left, 2 sodiums on the right, so we'll put a 2 here. 1 sulfur on the left, 1 sulfur on the right, and so everything's balanced. Final answer. 2 sodium plus sulfur yields sodium sulfide. Next is calcium plus fluorine. Remember, do not carry subscripts over to the right. I'm just going to write calcium and fluoride. Now, to get the subscripts, we balance the charges. +2 -1. That's going to give me subscripts of 1 and 2. And now when I balance the coefficients, we have 1 calcium, 2 fluorines, 2 fluorines. So this is already balanced. Final answer is 1 calcium plus 1 fluorine yields calcium fluoride. Next we have hydrogen plus oxygen. Do not carry over the subscripts. We're just going to put hydrogen and oxygen. Now we have to balance the charges. +1, -2 means I need a subscript of 2 here and 1 there. Now we can balance the coefficients. 2 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, 1 oxygen. So to fix this, I need a coefficient of 2 here. That'll give me these 2 oxygens. That has modified my hydrogens. I now have 4 hydrogens on the right, and so I'm going to need 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogens on the left. Final answer will be 2 hydrogens plus 1 oxygen yields 2 waters. Finally, we have iron plus oxygen, and this one's a little bit tricky. It can actually have more than one possible answer. So one answer would be, again, don't carry the subscript over. It's just going to be iron plus oxide. And now we balance the charges. And iron could be iron +2 or iron +3. So since we aren't told, we'd have to write 2 separate equations to show both possibilities. So we have +2 on this iron and -2 on oxide. +2 -2 cancel, so I just need 1 of each element to have balanced charges. And now we can balance the coefficients. 1 iron, 2 oxygens, 1 oxygen. So I need to fix that with a coefficient of 2. Gives me my 2 oxygens, but that modified my iron. I now have 2 irons, and so I'll need a 2 here. 2 irons, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. So this final answer would be 2 irons plus 1 oxygen yields 2 iron, 2 oxides. The same equation But this time, instead of yielding iron 2 oxide, we're going to yield iron 3 oxide. So this is iron plus 3. Oxide is -2. That means I need a subscript of 2 here and 3 here. And now I can balance the coefficients. 1 iron, 2 irons, would put a 2 there. 2 oxygens, 3 oxygens, use a common factor of 6. So I want this to be a 3 because 3 times 2 is 6, and this to be a 2 because 2 times 3 will be 6. That has changed my irons now. 2 times 2 is 4 irons, and so I'm going to change this coefficient to a 4 instead. So my final answer will be 4 irons plus 3 oxygens yields 2 iron 3 oxides.